Hi, welcome to our common presentation. We're going to describe our qualitative study on Danish mothers' beliefs on religion and parenting. This study has been conducted by this large group of psychology students under the supervision of Professor Boyatzis. Denmark is an ethically homogenous country that is one of the most secular in the world, with extremely low church attendance and little belief in God. Yet, they have a national church into which Danish citizens are born, and most Danes voluntarily pay taxes to support the church for its cultural significance. However, in this paradoxical situation of a highly secular culture with a state church, little is known about whether religion plays a role in family life in Denmark and how parents view and discuss religion with their children. We do know that the Danish philosophy of Engel provides children with autonomy in behavior and belief with relatively little control and supervision of children compared to the US. So we wish to hear from mothers themselves how they discuss religion with their children and the degree to which they grant them autonomy in their own religious belief and practice.
Our sample for this research consists of 15 Danish mothers, all fluent in English. At the time of her interview, each mother had at least one child aged from 4 to 14 years old. These mothers were interviewed and recorded in their own homes and were asked questions concerning the role of their religious beliefs in familial discourse and activities. When discussing religion as it relates to morality, mothers were asked, when you're talking to your kids about morals, do you bring in religion? In regards to the celebration or observation of religious holidays, mothers were asked, Christmas and Easter, do you celebrate in a way to recognize the religious significance? Do you go to church on major holidays? Did you baptize your children? What about confirmation when they're young teens? And when discussing religious functions and explanations of mortality, mothers were asked, do you use religious language or imagery and talks about death and an afterlife? We used an iterative process to create our coding system, reading through transcripts multiple times to identify and discuss possible themes. We analyzed transcripts using inductive and deductive methods to identify meaningful themes. A mix of a top-down approach to look for a priori themes, common in Danish parenting, such as the autonomy of children, and a bottom-up approach to identify new themes emerging from the mother's words themselves. This work is still in progress, and as of this date, we have coded 4 out of 15 total transcripts.
So looking at the reliability of our coding, teams of coders analyzed transcripts, and the group then reached a consensual decision on the final coding. The intercoder agreement on the psychological themes in mothers' interviews ranged from 81% to 86%, showing strong reliability between coders. For the results, we identified 7 major themes in the mothers' interviews. The first 2 being openness to other religions, Danish or family tradition, child's autonomy, concern for children's character, mother's personal religious beliefs, parents' upbringings, and mother's reflection on parenting. The 5 starred themes you see here are the ones that appeared in 100% of the transcripts. We will be focusing on these 3 main themes: openness to other religions, Danish or family tradition, and child's autonomy. Openness refers to the active respect for and incorporation of the ideas and beliefs that other religions, ideologies, and answers have to offer. The 2 subthemes we identified were openness to religion/faiths and humility to unknowns. Tradition refers to practices or customs. 2 subthemes we identified for Danish tradition were Danish tradition and familial tradition. Child's autonomy refers to child rearing practices that centralize what the child needs and wants in terms of religion, career, and school. The subthemes we identified were respecting child's choice, free to express emotions, and respect for behaviors.
So take a second to read this quote. And we're going to start with the theme of openness, remembering that definition that Grace just gave. Here's an example of openness under the subtheme of openness to religion and faiths. It best exemplifies an approach we've seen which incorporates that unrestricted perspective on religion. Specifically, her language with words like everyone, both, a lot, those words really emphasize that grand view that this theme aims to explain.
Yeah, true.
Take a second to also read this quote. So in this quote, notice the way that she freely ties two different belief systems together, highlighting their similarity in essence. Her openness is grounded in the values that religion can offer a person, recognizing the positive values in many. It's just the emphasis that's different, more of each different positive value for each one. Pause to read this one. Tradition for Danes is prioritizing the essence of Danish culture over religious practices. Although religious practices are embraced, as seen through talking about it at school, the heart of Danish tradition is rooted in the family and society's way of life. We'll pause to read this one. This quote reflects Danish parents drawing on tradition, and specifically Viking tradition. In this example of explaining Christmas celebration, religion isn't completely central, but it's definitely recognized and valued. The Danish way of being, as seen through Viking stories, is central to the celebration of Christmas. The emphasis in tradition is around the general Danish customs, such as a big feast. Pause for this quote. So note that this quote exemplifies centralizing the child, as seen through the sub-theme of respecting children's choice. Notice the neutral stance the mother takes. She's just providing neutral encouragement. She's explicitly stating that they can choose and not taking on any authoritative role in that decision-making process. We'll pause for this quote. And to build on the last quote, which showed neutral encouragement, this one shows the child also doesn't have to worry about negative repercussions for their personal belief choices. That's very freeing for the child, possibly in a way that Western culture doesn't often embrace. So both quotes together show the control and trust Danish parents place in their child.
So for a limitation we found, we have only coded a small portion of transcripts.
Despite this limitation, however, there are still some notable conclusions which our group was able to take away from our research thus far. The first being that, in our preliminary analyses, Danish mothers do not appear religious in a manner familiar to most Americans. They emphasize the importance of knowing about religion, not practicing it, as a part of Danish cultural tradition. In essence, Danes tend to separate the religious observation from the cultural celebration of various religious beliefs and practices and events. Secondly, Danish mothers highly prioritize their children's autonomy, including their choices about religious beliefs and practices, such as being confirmed. It's the child's life, and in accordance with the philosophy of Ingol Barnum, children are granted extensive freedom. A child's religious life is ultimately his or hers to choose. Finally, Danish mothers care about their children's morality and values, but do not see a role of religion in the children's character or moral development. Conversations about the distinctions between right and wrong are not put in a religious context, but are rather considered a part of basic human decency.
So we'd like to close by saying Mang Tak, which is Danish for thank you very much. We hope you enjoyed our presentation and learned about a new culture. Done. Were we good on time?
Okay. Yeah, that one, we had 1 minute and 32 seconds left. How do we feel about that one?
Honestly, okay.
Just so you know, he said he was going to share it with Grace's and I's 300 level class. Okay. I feel like that makes me more nervous than like the fact that we're.
Well, then, do you guys want to do it one more time? Or what do you think? If that's what you, I don't know, with your whole 300. I mean, I feel fine. I feel
like the more we do it, like we're just going to keep finding little things that. Yeah. Grace, okay. How do you feel? Okay, she's fine.
Yeah, okay.
Sounds good.
I feel like it's okay. Like they can just pause the video.
Yeah, that's so true. Oh, it's good that you said pause. Yeah, I feel like the pause. Okay. Well, great work, guys.
Yes.